Our reading here is Proverbs chapter 2. Proverbs chapter 2. And I have that only divided, which is kind of silly to say. It's not divided. One section, and I have that titled Wisdom's Benefits. So Proverbs chapter 2 is simply titled Wisdom's Benefits. Now I want you to notice something, especially in the first five verses, but it's all kind of connected, is the cause and effect that's taking place. We see a lot of ifs. Verse number 1, my son, if thou wilt receive my words. Verse 2, incline thine ear. Verse number 3, if thou criest after knowledge. Verse 4, if thou seekest her as silver. We see all of these ifs, and in verse number 5, then shalt thou understand the what? Fear of the Lord, and find the knowledge of God. And then we see the source of this wisdom and knowledge is found in verses 6 through 8. For the Lord giveth wisdom. Out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. Verse 8, he keepeth the paths of judgment. Verse number 9, again, then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, and every good thing. So we see all of these ifs and thens, and in verse number 10, we see a when. When wisdom entereth into thine heart. All right, so you saw the ifs, then this will happen, and once this has happened, when this happens, then. All right, and so he says, when wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant to thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. And he gives two specific things right here in which you'll be preserved from and kept from. The first one is found in verse number 12, and that's to deliver thee from the way of the evil man. So those in which should do us harm, there's one word that's repeated twice here, and the word is called froward. Okay, and the word froward simply means perverse. It means perverse, which means to be turned aside. The froward man is a man perverse in his ways and that wants to turn us aside out of the way in which we should go. They are more common than you think. These are not necessarily men that would appear wicked on the outside, but anybody that tries to turn you off of the path of righteousness for whatever reason is a froward man, is a perverse man, is one that is perverting your steps and turning you aside from the direction in which you should go. And so if we incline our ear, cry after knowledge, seek us after silver, then we'll understand the fear of the Lord. And if we do that, we'll understand righteousness. And when that happens, we will be delivered, number 1, from the evil man, but number 2, verse number 16, to deliver thee from the strange woman. The strange woman. What does a strange woman do? I think the description in verse number 17 is a good one. That was, which forsaketh the guide of her youth and forgetteth the covenant of her God. She forgets, she forsakes, and she forgets. She forsakes her upbringing. She forsakes all of the good things in which she might have been taught, and then she forgets the covenant of her God. She dismisses her God. That's a strange woman. And we go down and see the results of yoking up with a strange woman. Her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life. And there's been many a man that has been perverted out of the way because they lacked wisdom, they did not choose the fear of the Lord, and they have fell for a harlot, and that harlot has perverted their way unto death. Well, they may not have died right immediately. They may not die for 50, 60 years, but they'll pervert him and pull him away from the things of God to where he has no interest in God, right to his grave. Then we see kind of an either or there in verse number 21 to close this out. Verse number 21 says, for the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it, but the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressor shall be rooted out of it. So as we see here in chapter number 2, I titled it Wisdom's Benefits, because if we it tells us how to gain it. It tells us what will happen if we do get it, and the dangers in which it will prevent us and the mistakes in which it will prevent us from making. It's a good chapter for us to hear and heed. All right, Proverbs chapter 2. A lot in there. Again, we're just touching the surface, but hopefully it'll give you a little blessing here and there. And God bless, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.